Hi, we're talking about Your Money Matters on NDTV Profit, and today we're going to focus on a couple of concepts. One is health insurance. The word is that premiums are going up, and if you haven't yet gotten a notification about that, you probably will soon. We'll talk about the numbers and why this is happening, and of course, what you should do to get the best deals. And second, there's a tie-up that has been announced between the Securities and Exchange Board of India and DigiLocker. That's going to make it much easier for your nominees to get access to the assets that you've assigned to them. And finally, on Travel Thursday today, we're talking about the land of the Nile and the pharaohs, Egypt. My first guest today is Amit Chhabra, who's the Chief Business Officer at Policybazaar. Amit, thanks as always for taking the time. And I want to talk to you about health insurance premium going up. The word is that that is taking place, and it's actually not the par for the course normal increases. They're actually quite substantial, because I saw a survey report from earlier this year that talked about 25% increase in premium. Can you give me a sense of what is happening now?
Sure. See, I think there is a lot of, I would say, uncertainty in the minds of health insurance consumers on what's happening on health insurance premiums. So it's important to understand, what exactly is going on. See, one, health insurance premiums are increasing, but is it increasing for everybody? The answer is no. Is it increasing by a very large percentage for everybody? The answer is definitely no. In fact, if you look at a CAGR, a combined annual growth rate of price increase that has happened over the last many years, the number is actually very, very insignificant. It's about, it's in the range of 5 to 7% on an average over the last 10 years across all kinds of customers.
However, sorry, can you say that again?
It's about 5 to 7%, not more than that.
Over what period of time?
This is over the last 10 years.
Okay.
It's not a very significant price increase that has happened, over a large period of time. However, what might be happening is a couple of things, right? Medical inflation is real, right? It's close to 8% is the medical inflation every year. So health insurance has to catch up to it somehow, right? It cannot always stay away from increasing the prices. But a few things have happened. So when COVID was going on, from 2019 or rather 2020 to 2022 roughly, there were no price increases that happened during that period of time. It was a mandate regulatorily as well that one should not increase prices. However, there were more hospitalizations, there were more claims. As a result, there was a bit of a backlog of price increases that happened, and that is what is reflecting in the premium increases that is happening right now. So that is part one. Part two is, over the years, and over the last 5 years, I would say the cost of hospitalization has significantly gone up. So the average claim severity, which is basically the average cost of hospitalization for, across all health insurance buyers, that has gone up from about 40,000 5 years back to about 80,000 now. So it's almost doubled in the last 5 years. The biggest reason it's happened is because the cost of hospitalization has gone up in terms of, there is medical inflation, more advanced treatments are available. There are a lot of sanitization procedures which weren't there before COVID. So all of that has meant that the cost of hospitalization has gone up. The other thing that has also gone up is frequency of claims, which essentially means that more people are unfortunately falling ill now. If you look around, more people are getting viral infections. More people are getting heart attacks. Younger people are getting heart attacks. Unfortunately, cancer is becoming very common. So all of that is feeding into the cost of hospitalization increasing. Now, as a result, insurers have had to increase prices. But again, there are certain segments which see a very large price increase. The biggest of those segments is people who have had a low sum insured policy.
Okay.
So if you have a policy which is, let's say, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, 4 lakh sum insured, these consumers are seeing a significantly larger price increase, whereas people who have had a policy of 10 lakhs or above sum insured, there the price increases are minimal. Understand why? Because if you had a low sum insured policy, the chances of you using up your entire sum insured is very high now, because the cost of claims has gone up so much. Whereas if you had a 10 lakh sum insured policy, you will still use a very small part of your sum insured on an average.
Right.
So as a result, the cost of the low sum insured policies have significantly gone up. And these are the people, who do feel the brunt of it. Unfortunately, the reality is a lot of these policies were held by senior citizens, so they also feel the brunt of it as well. That's the truth out there. But But it's practically, these low sum insured policies which see a very large price increase.
Amit,
On an average, the price increase is still quite minimal, and at a CAGR of 5 to 7%, over a long period of time, I would say it's a price increase which is needed because the cost of hospitalization is also going up.
Understand the numbers here. So, in the low sum insured policies, would it be accurate to say that you could have seen 25% plus or thereabouts increase in premium?
So again, on an average, if you look at a 10-year period, this number is about 15%.
Sure.
But what might be happening is, if one had a policy and that policy had not increased prices, let's say over the last 3-4 years, now suddenly one might see a larger price increase also. So
Fair.
a lot of the cases, that we see on social media, where there is a 50% price increase, 60% price increase, because those cases do keep coming up. These are typically those kind of policies where the sum insureds are much lower.
What is the definition, in your opinion, of a low sum insured policy?
I think in the current, and it keeps on changing, right? Because it depends on which year you're talking about. In the current day and age, I would feel anything above 10 lakhs is low. However,
anything below 10 lakhs, you're saying?
Yes, it's low because you have to look at it in the context of what is the average cost of hospitalization per day. The average cost per day is now about 80,000 rupees. If you specifically are looking at a tier 1 hospital or a tier 1 city, right? If you're looking at, let's say, a tier 2, tier 3 city, the average cost of hospitalization per day is anywhere between 40 to 50,000 rupees. Now, this assumes you go to a good hospital and you go to, a single room within a hospital. So if you're doing that, then that is the cost. The problem is, if you have, let's say, even a 5 lakh rupee policy and you live in Delhi NCR and you go to a hospital for, let's say, a treatment for dengue or a viral infection or a stomach infection or something, you will end up losing all your sum insured within those five days. And then you are left exposed for the rest of the, policy year. Yeah. Which is why I say that right now, given how the medical conditions are, 10 lakhs is low sum insured, but for the purpose of this analysis of, whose premium is increasing by how much, I'm typically referring to less than 5 lakhs as the low sum insured.
Sure, that's okay. So that's the perspective I was looking for. Okay, so now that we've established that, okay, they've seen 15 to 20 at least, if not more than that, a lot of people have seen 25% plus, as was evidenced by the survey that I was referring to. What is the solution here? Because if you get into, for example, a multi-year policy, multi-year health insurance policy, is that something that you should consider doing? Because you can effectively, would you be able to lock in premium that way?
Yes. So there are, let me start by sharing a very interesting data point. So I said that 5% is the average premium increase that people are seeing. This is the premium increase that people are paying when they are renewing their policy. If you look at the renewal notice that you received, this number actually may be higher. It may be 10%. It is actually close to 9-10%. However, people are actually able to now, through various product innovations, figure out and pay a lower premium when it comes to paying for the health insurance policy. How does it happen? Let me explain. So first, one can always have an option to take a deductible when you are renewing your health insurance policy. That means, so let's say I have a policy of 10 lakhs sum insured. Let's say the premium is 40,000 rupees. I can say that the first 25,000 rupees of claim, whenever it comes, will be paid by me or will be paid by another policy that I have, and the rest will be paid by my health insurance policy. It's called taking a deductible in the policy. It's like when you're taking a claim for your car insurance, the first 1,000 or 2,000 rupees are paid by you and rest is paid by the insurance company. Sure. If you take the first 25,000 on yourself, then you can save as much as 10,000 rupees of premium every year. So practically, the next 2.5 years, you've earned back that 25,000 rupees. And because a lot of people, at least that we serve are people who have corporate policies also, you can always use those policies to pay for the 25,000 rupees that you deducted, or you can pay it by yourself. But you save a significant amount of premium by doing that. That's one method of doing it. The other method of doing it, if you've seen a large price increase, is you can also downgrade your plan's room rent bit. And I'm not saying that you go to, a general ward or anything of that sort. A lot of plans today say that you can go to any room of your choice. So you can even go to a suite room, which 99% of the consumers typically don't go to. So you can downgrade your plan from all room categories to a single room category or a shared room category where there are 2 patients in a room. that again saves anywhere between 10 to 20% of your premium. So you can bring down your premium if you promise that you will go to one of the single room or a shared room category. Similarly, there's another option where if you commit that you would go to a limited network of hospitals and not to any hospital in the country, then again you can get close to 15 to 20% discount on premium. So I'll give you an example. Let's say if you stay in Delhi NCR and you say that I will go to any hospital but not Medanta and not Fortis, just as an example. Then the insurance company says that, okay, fine, I will give you a 15% discount on premium. This is called a preferred network discount.
Sure.
Essentially, what the insurance company is saying is don't go to the most expensive hospitals, but you go everywhere else, get good treatment, and we are giving you a big discount on premium.
Okay.
So there are various methods available by which you can reduce your premium. This is part one. Part two is you can always take your policies on EMIs. Just like, one today pays Netflix subscriptions on EMIs or Amazon Prime subscription on EMIs. You can also pay health insurance on EMIs now. It's fairly simplistic. One can do that, and that does lead to a slight price increase at an overall level because the insurance company basically says that there is a loss of investment income. So, increase the premiums by 4 to 6%. But instead of paying, let's say, 36,000 rupees upfront, which can be a large amount, you pay 3,000 rupees every month, or let's say 3,100 rupees every month. So it also increases affordability significantly. If cash flow is not a problem, as you were saying, one can also go for a long-term policy. In fact, now there are many companies which offer a 5-year plan as well. So you lock in your premiums upfront for the next 5 years or 3 years. You also get a handsome discount for doing that. So you get as much as 15-16% of discount when you lock in over a 5-year period. Once you do that, you practically, you have a hassle-free next 5 years because all of your health insurance cost is taken care of.
Sure. Okay. And you've covered all of the ground. Thanks so much for that. I think that last answer that you gave is relevant to everybody listening in who either has a policy or is looking to buy one. Thanks so much for joining me today. Amit, absolute pleasure as always having you.
Thank you.